Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahawashi, Ba'Hashem Rakak. And I want to say Shalom to Yakunakwat out there, pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. And which one are we going to start up with here? Let's start up with one. Just start up with this one that we got on the screen right now. I got two lessons technically up on the screen. Let me go ahead and split them like that. I believe that. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, so those are the ones. So this one, I don't have a title for this one yet. The next one has a title, but this one doesn't really have one yet. But I was going through the news, and I found this, and this was quite interesting. It's from NBC News, and it says 40,000 Southern Californians ordered to evacuate amid threat of chemical explosion. The authorities in Orange County say they're unable to control the valves on a tank that contains methyl methacrylate, a chemical used in the manufacture of plexiglass. So yeah, that doesn't sound like it's particularly good for your health. All right, methyl methacrylate. Methacrylate. Yeah, methyl methacrylate. Good lord, kind of a tongue twister there. But yeah, methyl methacrylate. Let's look up methyl methacrylate and see what health implications it has. Methyl methacrylate health hazards. Ooh. So it says MMA, or methyl methacrylate, is a reactive chemical primarily used in plastics, resins, adhesives, and dental cosmetic products. While safe when fully polymerized, solidified, liquid MMA and its vapors are highly hazardous. Well, that would explain the evacuation, right? Because, again, chemical explosion. That shit's going to be blowing up in the air. It says health risks range from severe skin allergies and respiratory irritation to neurological and organ damage. So neurological, of course, that's straight to the brain. Let's go to the key health hazards and get a little breakdown of each one of them. It says, so dermatoxicity. So derma, that's related to the skin. That's what you go to a dermatologist, all right, for skin issues. But dermatoxicity, of course, which means toxicity of the skin. It says it is a potent skin allergen. Direct contact can cause severe dermatitis, itching, redness, and even nail deformities or nail loss. Frequently seen in unauthorized salon acrylic nails. But once sensitized, even tiny future exposures will trigger a reaction. Dang. So once you have that, it's if you're exposed to a lot of it, even a little bit, back then or back before, then when you were exposed to this, it wouldn't affect you as much. But now that you've been exposed to it, it's like you're hyper sensitized to it. It's insane. The respiratory irritation, of course, with the breathing, right? It says breathing in MMA vapors irritates the nose, throat, and lungs. High concentrations can cause coughing, chest tightness, shortness of breath, and may exacerbate existing asthma. Severe acute exposure can lead to pulmonary edema, which is fluid in the lungs, a life-threatening medical emergency. Neurotoxicity, exposure to concentrated vapors can affect the central nervous system. I'm sure that's just wonderful. Acute symptoms include headaches, dizziness, lightheadedness, and difficulty concentrating. Prolonged or chronic exposure has been linked to memory loss, fatigue, irritability, and peripheral neuropathy, numbness or weakness in the hands and feet. Organ damage. Chronic or high-level exposure can place stress on the liver and kidneys. Carcinogenicity, that's cancer and reproductive risk. According to the U.S. EPA, MMA is currently classified as not likely to be carcinogenic to humans, so it's not likely to cause cancer, but all this other shit says it is considered a reproductive hazard, as fetal abnormalities and developmental toxicity have been observed in animal studies following significant exposure. So, you can end up with shit like hydrocephalus and all sorts of different things, right? All sorts of different birth deformities and not really mutilation, but mutations. All right, not mutilations, but mutations. Yeah. So insane. So right there. Fuck yeah, may damage the developing fetus. So Who knows? It could possibly cause, you know, mental retardation, all sorts of horrible deformities. But this is the type of stuff that's plaguing Babylon. All right. The lesson after this is titled, "The Lord is sending plagues upon the whole world." I don't know necessarily what I'm going to call this one, because this one isn't even just about Babylon. This is about the whole world. Again, one's about plagues. This is about all sorts of hells. I might just have a similar naming scheme and call this one, "The Lord is sending hells upon the whole world," or "Judgment upon the whole world," and the next one is, "The Lord is sending pestilence upon the whole world." Who knows? But we'll just use that as a placeholder, is, you know, the Lord is sending hell upon the whole world. And hell, of course, referring to judgment. And yeah, man, this is insane. Let's go and watch the video. It's a 2-minute and 11-second video. Fair use, fair use, fair use. On the closed caption for whatever reason. And then I'm going to go ahead and play it. So fair use, fair use. I'm allowed to use this. All right, don't make any money off of this. This is just for religious instruction, so here you go.
In this news out of California very closely, we're learning that more evacuations are now being reordered around Garden Grove, California, about 20 minutes from Anaheim. So there's the map. Orange County is what we're talking about. After a chemical leak started yesterday at an aerospace manufacturing facility. So we have a live shot of that plant here. First responders say that they were able to get the leak under control, but the situation is still very volatile because of a damaged valve on one of the tanks, with some calling this a ticking time bomb. NBC's Danny Griffin in LA for us right now. Danny, we just got an update on the situation. What did you hear from firefighters?
So, Tom, officials say that this is not precautionary. This tank is going to fail. They just don't know when. So inside this tank, it's a chemical called methyl-methylcrylate, or MMA. It's used in plastics.
Methyl-methylcrylate. Methyl-methylcrylate. Wouldn't that be methacrylate? Maybe you can pronounce it both ways.
Methacrylate.
Okay, yeah, okay. You know, Jake.
Manufacturing right now, they have ordered 40,000 people in Garden Grove to evacuate. They say about 15% have not done so, or only there's a 15% refusal rate. And officials say this is the reason why they want people out of there.
I'd get the fuck out.
Very dangerous.
I'd get out. Especially because they're saying it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The valve is damaged, and it's basically like I said, ticking time bomb. I'm all right. I'm good. I'd probably just go and stay with some family members in a different state for a little bit, right? And I'd call up my mom or a dad or something, and be like, "Yo, I need to stay with y'all for a little bit until they get this fixed, because this shit's about to blow up like a bomb and blow all this methyl-methacrylate all over the place." Hell nah. Hell no. And mind you, all the health effects that we saw about methyl methacrylate, that's just the ones that Esau knows about, because there's a lot of different shit, and they say, "Oh, it's not hazardous, it's not, chemically hazardous," and there's a lot of shit that they say is fine, and it's most certainly not fine, right?
Videos of tank cars on a railroad track blowing up, and that fireball it puts out, and it blows half the tank car a half a mile down the train track. That's the incident potential we are dealing with if this suffers a catastrophic failure.
Well, hold up. Methyl methacrylate train explosion. This is an explosion of a tank. Is there a video of it? Tank. Do they not have the exact let's see. Well, maybe videos. Again, fair use, fair use, fair use.
Thousands of residents are under evacuation orders across Orange County as officials work to mitigate a chemical tank leak at a Garden Grove Aerospace facility. This is
Well, it's not as extreme as I thought it would be. I thought, the guy made it seem like, it fucking, exploded massively. I mean, let's see. Let's go back. Maybe I just misheard.
Want people out of there because it is very dangerous.
Videos of tank cars on a railroad track blowing up.
Well, yeah, see, that's the one I'm looking for, and it was giving me a different... railroad methyl methacrylate. I'm not going to spend too much... Methacrylate. I'm not going to spend too much time looking for it. But he's saying there's a video out there. See. You see, he seems to be referencing a video that doesn't even seem to, this stuff's called styrene. The only thing I know about styrene is polystyrene, so I don't know if that's the same thing. Yeah, I don't know. I can't. This says chemical leak. Train, car, tank, methyl methacrylate explosion. If anything would come up, it would come from that. No, it doesn't really seem so. Is this the one? No.
.215 freeway and more than 100
and it could
Doesn't. Yeah, I don't know the video he's referencing. I would like to see it. I mean, that's pretty indicative of what could be, a potentiality. But I guess, whatever.
Videos of tank cars on a railroad track blowing up, and that fireball it puts out, and it blows half the tank car a half a mile down the train track. That's the incident potential we are dealing with if this suffers a catastrophic failure.
Where's the video then?
That's why, in an abundance of caution, we have reissued the evacuation.
We're now taking a live look.
Oh, because look, man, what if you're one of these houses right here, man? First of all, I wouldn't even want to be that close to a plant that's producing shit like that. It's probably mostly all black neighborhoods, if I had to guess. Because that's where they put the black neighborhoods, next to this type of fucking shit.
At that tank, it carries up to 7,000 gallons of this toxic, flammable chemical, and there's two options here. It's going to leak or it is going to blow up. That is the only two things that could happen at this point, according to officials. Even the mayor saying that they know people are frightened and that this is a scary situation, but the priority is saving lives. That's why they want people in that evacuation zone to leave immediately. If they can get you back in, they say they will do so only when it's safe. Tom?
And fire commanders have a lot on their plates there. Dana Griffin, thank you very much.
Last 10.
So you see it, man. You see it. Anything else? It fails or blows. So it's just a matter of when it's going to happen. Let's go see if people on YouTube have anything to say. Wait, that's not a YouTube link.
Evacuation.
Find the fuck out of this company. What's this say? Very close to my work. That's called dangerous. Has a valve accidentally opened by itself? What's failing? Failing. So yeah, that's not what happened. How convenient is that? Yet we're not supposed to think any conspiracies going on. Yeah. See, a lot. You see Esau's American inhabitants are not very trusting of the system anymore. Everyone's calling it conspiracy. They're saying, how does this happen by itself? How convenient is that? Right? And look, these are their people, more than likely. Right? Cindy O. Right? At least they have, At least they have their mind on it, because a lot of people out here just fucking, free balling the world and just letting anything go, uncalled out, right? So let's get, and this is all part of what the Lord's got going on. Okay, let me open up the Bible Gateway here. This is all part of what the Lord's got going on, because these people are wicked as hell. Everybody in the world, Jake, Elam, Moab, everybody. So the Lord's bringing, death and destruction on this place. And this is only a taste of what's to come, mind you. This is almost like a judgment report, but not so much. I haven't done a judgment report in a little while, but it's in the same vein, right? So Isaiah 13:9, it says, "Behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it." Okay, so this is about the day that's coming, all right? It's Babylon's destruction, all right? And not only Babylon's destruction, but there's going to be judgment across the whole world, okay? Babylon's just going to be, other than Israel, the only one that's completely blown to smithereens by the nuclear missiles, all right? Those ICBMs. Everywhere else is still going to be getting judgment, all right? The islands and areas like North Korea, South Korea, all the Asias, well, they're very coastal areas, which means they're going to be hit with massive, massive typhoons, massive hurricanes, all sorts of hell. All sorts of hell, man. And places like Hawaii, those places are not going to be good. Well, technically, that's a part of Babylon, but all as my wife said, all that's going to take is one nuke, right? All you need is one. You don't even. I mean, that place is so small, all right. Because me and her were talking about it the other day about Hawaii, all right, being part of Babylon. And I want to see the thing. I mean, I guess that's the best. Let's just go to the map. Actually, let me go and just do. So if you look at this, I mean, look at it. It's not even. One of the smallest states is like Rhode Island's all the way down here. But what's the smallest? Well, let me look it up. Smallest. Yeah, Rhode Island. So yeah, it's other than that, but I mean, look, this is tiny. And Honolulu and Maui, I think Maui's the most populated. Look how tiny, all hell, you put a nuke right here, boom, you're taking that whole area out. I mean, it's just one of those things, man, where it's places like this, and then look at all these areas over here. All right, anybody that's around these coasts, all right. Well, Babylon's going to be a different story, but Canada, all these different and you're right next to a place that's getting a complete nuclear missile barrage. Yeah, it's not going to be so good for you either. And then, Greenland, all the coasts, areas like this with Finland, Sweden, and Norway. All these areas are going to have, it's going to be horrible for them. And then, of course, getting into all the Asias over here. Look. All these places are just tiny little islands. Taiwan, done. South Korea, done. Japan, oh, it's going to be bad, man. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. So, and he's giving you a little taste of what's to come. All right, as a matter of fact, when ye shall see, then shall you know. That's not the one. Well, it is really at the end of the day. Matthew 24, because we got some. We're dealing with Matthew 24 in the next lesson. But you know what? Matthew 24 is fine. That's not the one. There we go. That's why I didn't want to come up, because it's in the Apocrypha. Here it is. verse 1. And a lot of these signs are labeled within Matthew 24 and Luke 21, right? But Matthew, second Esdras 9 and 1, it says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, because we were warned about all these things before they happened, then what? Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Check it out. Second Esdras 9 and 3, therefore when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. It's guaranteed and it's coming. So uproars of people, is this not causing an uproar of people? I mean, it would definitely be an uproar to me if I had to evacuate. All right, 40,000 Southern Californians ordered to evacuate. Yeah, I'd say that's an uproar. All right, what is an uproar at the end of the day? Okay, uproar. Okay, a state of commodity, a commotion, excitement, or violent disturbance. I'd say that's a violent disturbance. Okay, and I'd say it's commotion. Okay, 40,000 people having to get up and leave. I'd say that's a commotion, right? A situation in which a lot of people complain about something angrily or make a lot of noise. I'm sure, it's not going to be all over, but I'm pretty sure people are making a lot of noise about having to get up and leave. People have jobs over there. People have families over there. People have a whole bunch of shit over there, cars and stuff that they don't know how they're going to get with them. And yeah, I'm sure that's going to be quite the commotion. I'm sure that's going to cause quite the uproar. 40,000 people having to just get up and get the fuck out of where they live, right? So yeah, man, and this is the type of stuff that's going to happen to the world for all the wickedness that's in it. And I'm not gonna say that every single person that's involved in that evacuation is wicked. 40,000 people. There's probably some good, decent, maybe some elect in there, but it's just going to be a hell for them, but it's going to be a different type of hell for these other people. Hell, some people might not be able to get, some people might die, some people might get sick. We don't know what the lasting health effects of that shit is. And, it's just one of those things that you got to keep an eye on. And who knows what's going to happen? What if some people don't evacuate? There's a what if. Everyone's all big on the what ifs. What if some people are ordered, because a lot of time people are ordered to evacuate and they don't. Right? They don't evacuate. So what's going to happen to those individuals? And what if it blows up? Then what's going to happen to those individuals? Right? So there's a lot of speculation that could be had at this, but it's definitely not good. Definitely not a good situation. Okay, definitely not a good situation at all. And let's get Psalm 11 and 6. Okay, and it's going to read, upon the wicked he shall rain snares, fire, and brimstone, and a horrible tempest, this shall be the portion of their cup. So upon the wicked the Lord brings all host of hells and torments and destructions and judgments, right? It could be snares, things you get trapped, involved in, fire and brimstone. Well, depending on how this situation go, it could very well turn into a fire situation. They said that it could be a massive explosion, all right, which would be fire, and that would not be good. All right, it says, and a horrible tempest. So again, he can deal with the weather and the winds and the waters and all, anything. He can control anything. This is the Lord we're dealing with at the end of the day, right? And like it says, upon the wicked. For example, say if one of the members of the elect, there was a brother that happened to be dwelling over there, a sister over there, or a brother and sister. All right, they happen to be married and they both happen to be members of the elect, unbeknownst to them. If it did blow up, they'd be fine, right? But everywhere else around them wouldn't be so fine at all. All right, maybe some of the neighbors' houses around them might be okay, but that's just for their sake, for the elect's sake. All right, because again, you can't have that damage so close to the elect because it could potentially kill them. So it's their neighbor. Oh, it didn't hit mine either. Well, it only didn't hit yours because you're in the general area of someone that was the elect, and it would have damaged their house if it hit your house so close. Right? Stuff like that can happen. But it doesn't mean it's a blessing upon that individual. It just means you just, happened to be fortunate in the area. All right, it wasn't necessarily that the Lord was having mercy upon you. He was having mercy upon his people, but your house was a little too close. So, that's how it goes. And don't get cocky. Oh, I'm just going to live next to the... No, because he could have a target attack happen. There could be a situation instead where it blows up and that's the only house left standing is the elect's house. There's many different ways. The Lord has a whole host of toolboxes, that not just one toolbox, or you can say a whole host of toolboxes, or multiple, just one big one, however you want to say it. 7 toolboxes, all right, full of different tools that he can use to bring hell and death and judgment and torment and all sorts of chaos upon your ass. So don't get cocky, right? So what else do we got here? We also got this one was interesting. Let's get it. I'll close out of this news article here. I guess I can bring this in as well. This one right here, Slack. I just created a little mini tab here. Close out of that, all these other ones. But yeah, so let's go ahead and play this.
Making a suspected bird. Glad you're streaming with us. Well, here are some other top stories that we're tracking for you this hour. Police in New York City.
That's not going to be it, but this one was interesting. It says 4 dead and 90 trapped in a coal mine accident in northern China. State media says among the 90 workers who remain trapped are 16 people in critical condition. And as it always goes with these events, a lot more people are going to die. Right now it's just 4, but there's already 16 in critical condition. So bear with me while I grab this drink of water. So who knows how many of these people are going to die. Here's another thing that was interesting. Here's some judgment. NASCAR champion Kyle Busch dies at the age of 41, sudden and tragic. How did he die? Could have been, was it racing?
This morning, the racing world in shock after the sudden death of 2-time NASCAR Cup Series champion Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch behind the wheel, winning.
At just 41 years old, the married father of 2 died after being hospitalized with what his family describes as a severe illness. They did not elaborate. Reaction pouring in overnight. Denny Hamlin saying absolutely cannot comprehend this news. Dale Earnhardt Jr. saying, I will never be able to make sense of this loss, but I am thankful that we had found a way to become friends. Just 12 days ago, Busch radioed his crew during this race in upstate New York, asking a doctor to give him a shot. He was reportedly struggling with a sinus cold, made worse by the intense G-forces and elevation changes of the course.
He has asked to have medical attention available after the race.
I'm going to need a shot. Copy.
Although no cause of death has been given, doctors say bad colds can turn deadly.
In some situations, what may seem like a routine cold can actually turn into pneumonia.
Something about this whole situation fucking stinks. I'm gonna be honest with you. Something about it fucking stinks.
Sepsis, meningitis, or may even affect other organs in your body. This can lead to some severe complications.
Busch won more races across NASCAR's 3 national series than any other driver in history. Just last week, after winning at Dover Motor Speedway, he gave a now very meaningful response to a reporter's question.
Why do these moments never get old, Kyle?
Because you never know when the last one is.
Off the track, Busch's family took front and center. He and his wife Samantha were vocal in the past about their struggles with infertility. In 2021, they spoke on the Tamron Hall Show about IVF, hoping to help other families.
When we were starting to go through it, we were trying to research, and there wasn't a whole lot out there.
In a joint statement last night, NASCAR and the Busch family saying Kyle was a rare talent, one who comes along once in a generation. He was fierce, he was passionate, he was immensely skilled, and he cared deeply about the sports and fans.
He was somebody who was willing, even at the top of his game and winning NASCAR championships, to still go and mentor and give advice to a teenager like me and a lot of other young drivers that came through his organization.
Yeah.
Busch was supposed to compete in a race in North Carolina this Sunday. We're told the race will go on as planned.
Sad stuff, man. Sad stuff. And like I said, I don't follow NASCAR too much. The last job I was at, when it was on, sometimes I'd put it on. I played NASCAR games, like the video games and stuff like that. I grew up hearing about, Dale Earnhardt, of course, and his thing. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, right? And, all the big names. I didn't keep up with it too much, but I could definitely tell you that I know the name Kyle Busch for sure. Because again, he's huge. All right, within the scene, or was huge. And this one says NASCAR great Kyle Busch was coughing up blood day before he died. 911 call says. So I don't know. This just I don't know. Something about it is just I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just gonna keep on saying there's just something there. I don't know if you brothers and sisters, get that as well. It just doesn't make sense. Oh, it could just be a cold. And then the first thing he mentioned was pneumonia, coughing up blood. And then we know about pneumonia and the cyanide poison. I don't know. Did this guy not do a favor or something? Did he get so big that they wanted, these one of these families wanted them to do a favor and he didn't do the favor, so he went bye-bye. Who knows? It's just one of those things where you can't be ignorant of anything in a great matter of small, as the scriptures say, because it's just there. Something does not add up there. Something's not right, and the family's not necessarily coming out and saying what it was, just a severe illness. Just to go from well to just done, right? Just doesn't. Usually there's health effects, right? There's usually health effects. Just to go like that would be, I don't know. Unless they were hiding, who knows? And they could have been hiding illness from the media or whatever. But yeah, you got that going on too. But anyway, back to this event. I just wanted to look into that because that was interesting. We got more stuff going on with the bullshit, as it is in Hebrew. Yeah. So let's read more about this. Excuse me. It says 4 people were killed, 90 remain trapped following a coal mine incident in northern China, according to Chinese state media. And this is just based off the Chinese state media. They don't release a lot, so there could be a lot more dead in there too. It says, and they want to make it look like they're doing so good. It says the incident occurred Friday night at local time in, I'm not going to even try to pronounce that, coal mine in so-and-so city, according to Chinese state agency. Carbon monoxide levels exceeded limits in the mine. Okay, so that's not good. A total of 247 workers, were underground at the time, according to Xinhua. Of those 157 people, including 4 confirmed dead, have since been brought to the surface, state media said. Rescue efforts are ongoing. So again, showed you, doesn't matter where you're at, man. If Lord wants your ass out, your ass is going to be out. So Proverbs 11:21, here's something about the wicked. Mostly dealing with, of course, Esau being the wicked. But this goes for anybody that's pursuing wickedness, unrighteousness, sin, evil, all right, whatever you want to call it, all varieties, all right, mischief. Lord's coming for your ass, man. He's it's not going to be so good. Proverbs 11:21, though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. And don't get me wrong, even with Kyle Busch, that doesn't mean he was innocent. All right, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? All right, there you go. There's another scripture for you. So you don't just perish like that. Well, I can't necessarily that for Kyle Busch, because depending on what it is, you can die from like cancer or diabetes or other things and not be necessarily wicked. But let's be honest, Kyle Busch is more than likely an Edomite, all right, and especially with all the money and all the stuff and all the winning and all that stuff that he has, he had a fulfilled life, cut short. All right, but I mean, in his 41 years, he lived a more extravagant life than most people will ever live in a full lifetime of being 80, 90, and double his age, right? So, I mean, he lived fast, but, man, he had a hell of a life with those wins, man. But, of course, nobody likes it when it's cut short, but it's just one of those things. I can't necessarily say that, it's not that necessarily, it was still judgment at the end of the day, all right, because this guy's, wicked. He's an Edomite at the end of the day. But just because you die from an illness doesn't necessarily mean that you're wicked. Now, if you're trapped in some, bottom of a coal mine, suffering and carbon out, yeah, that's judgment. Sicknesses, not always. It depends on the sickness. It depends on how it goes, ultimately. All right, if you're suffering and writhing in pain, they keep on keeping you alive for months and months and months, and you're tormented. Yeah, that's judgment. But if you get older and die, or you have cancer or diabetes or some other severe health element and you die, I mean, at the end of the day, Jake goes for those type of things. Those are the curses that we're put under. And I mentioned that time and time again. I try to mention that more in my lessons because, again, some people might have family members or something that are sick or die, and that doesn't necessarily mean they're wicked. There's been plenty of people that have died in the truth, and they weren't wicked. It's just judgment it's very specific, okay? And this whole situation with Kyle Busch, that's judgment, just because, again, you know who he is at the end of the day. This something is amiss there, and they're not wanting to reveal it, and who knows why. But yeah, man, there's something there. The guy definitely more than likely not part of Israel, part of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Doesn't matter what he looks like. All right, it's just the blessings that he's got going on. You know, not really. There was no controversies. There's no issue. If you look at Jake social media influencers and you know icons. They always got something going on, right? I mean, all these individuals. Nicki Minaj broke, all right? Cardi B broke, all right? All these individuals go broke. Something happens. Something happens, all right? There's always some shit that goes on. They don't just get to, you know, or they have health issues through it, not necessarily judgment. It is in this case because, again, they're wicked. They're not the wicked, but they're wicked Jakes, 2/3. But all sorts of shit happens to him, all right? And again, there's a difference between punishments and hells, okay? Jake, as in Israel, specifically the 1/3, the elect, Lord won't be part of that number. We go through hells, but not judgments, okay? Judgments, you know, hells is different, all right? Hells is different. We might go through health effects, might lose a house, lose a car, just certain shit. People see, oh, well, people in the world do that. Well, it's a different way, man, all right? It's a different way, okay? So Nahum 1 and 2 through 3, and it's going to read, let me mark that off. Yahweh is jealous. Let's just go from 1. Might as well, right? Nahum 1 and 1 through 3, verse 1. The burden of Nineveh, the book of the vision of Nahum the Elkoshite. Yahweh is jealous, and the Lord revengeth. So you do something wicked that the Lord don't like, he will pay you back. Okay, it says the Lord revengeth, and is furious. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserveth wrath for his enemies. So, like the scriptures say, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. So we're not to do that. You know, the Lord wants to get his enemies back. All right, he doesn't want you to get them back. They're his enemies first and foremost. Before they're your enemies, they're his enemies, and they're his enemies that he wants to do something to. So it's not your job to step in and do something to them. He wants to do it, right? Not that, you know, there's really any control that you have, because even if you do step in and do something, the Lord, that was in the Lord's will, but it doesn't make it right that what you did, right? It was just in the Lord's will that you were going to do something wrong, right? It's hard to explain because Christians come every which way and they don't really understand the illusion of free will. Those that are in this truth understand it. Those that are not, they're not going to understand it. Like I said, it's a very abstract concept. I hate to use one of the Christians' words, but everybody's essentially been wound up, all right, in the back, all right, like a wind-up toy, all right, and everyone's going to walk a specific amount, do this, have this, you know, a specific color scheme that they're painted with, and do all these different things, and some of those things are going to be wicked, some of those things are going to be good. Well, you say, oh, does that mean that the Lord made you do wickedness? Well, essentially, it's in his script. I mean, everything is from the Lord, all right? So, the Lord doesn't do wickedness, but good and evil come from his hands, right? He's not wicked, but he will put wickedness on you, right? If that makes any... Again, you have to have a closed, open mind to be able to understand. But anyway, it says 3, the Lord is slow to anger. So again, really, you have some leeway. You have some... You know, there's mercy there, right? He's slow to anger. But again, a lot of people just... It's like you're purposely trying to piss him off, right? The Lord is slow to anger and great in power and will not at all acquit the wicked. The Lord hath his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. The Lord controls all things in all different ways, all shapes and forms. So let's go get Wisdom of Solomon 11 and 16, and then we'll close out with this one. All right. And this one's actually a good one for the next lesson that we're doing as well, titled "The Lord is Sending Pestilence Upon the Whole Earth." Lord willing, we make it, right? This is a good one for that as well. And it says in verse 16, it says, let's go from 15. It says, "But for the foolish devices of their wickedness, wherewith being deceived, they worship serpents void of reason, and vile beasts, thou didst send a multitude of unreasonable beasts upon them for vengeance, that they might know that wherewithal a man sinneth, by the same also shall he be punished." And this one's good for Esau, because this goes for anybody, all right? If you, the way you sin, a lot of time you'll end up being punished that way. For example, Esau likes doing all these different things with chemicals and all these different things with messing around with plagues, but those things end up coming back on them. They end up getting sick with the chemicals they're messing with. They end up getting killed, all right, by the pestilence they're fucking around with, and all sorts of different shit that they're doing, all right? It ends up for example, one big story was the inventor of a torture device called the Brazen Bull, and you can go and look this up. It was a Greek torture device, and they would stuff an individual. All right, they would stuff an individual. This is actually the sculptor. Stuff them in there, light a fire underneath, and the screams, all right, would come out. There's like a horn that was in here, and it would come out of the bull, making it sound like it was a bull doing his bull moo or scream or whatever you want to call it, right? It says it would heat it says, according to the legend, the condemned were locked inside the device with their head aligned within the bull's head. Fire was set beneath, heating the metal to an extent that the person inside was slowly roasted to death. The bull was equipped with an internal acoustic apparatus that converted the screams of the dying into what sounded like the bellows of a bull. It should say it that says the truth about the Brazen Bull is difficult to verify and may have been created for intimidation rather than actual use. No, that shit was probably used. But the story is that the Christians claimed that the Romans used the torture device to kill some Christians. Well, supposedly. Yeah, here's the story. It says the head of the bull was purposely designed with a system of tubes. So the inventor was Parelius of Athens, and you can see this is Parelius, the inventor, being forced into it because, well, he wanted to see if it worked. It said the head of the bull was purportedly designed with a system of tubes that stops so that the prisoner's screams were converted into sounds like the bellowing of an infuriated bull. Phalaris is said to have commanded the bull to have been designed in such a way that its smoke rose in spicy clouds of incense. According to the legend, when the bull was reopened after a body was charred, the victim's scorched bones then shone like jewels that were made into bracelets. It's showing you that these motherfuckers are sick. After finishing construction on the execution devices, Polarius said to Phalaris, "His screams will come to you through the pipes as the tenderest, most pathetic, most melodious of bellowings." Parelius believed he would receive a reward for his invention. Instead, Phalaris was so disgusted by these words, ordered its horn sound system be tested by Polarius himself, tricking him into getting into the bull. When Polarius entered, he was immediately locked in, and a fire was set so that Polarius could hear the sounds of Polarius' screams. Polarius could hear the sound of Polarius. Good lord. It says, before Polarius could die, Phalaris ordered he remove the bull. After seeing him from the bull, Polarius is then said to have had Parelius thrown to his death from atop a high cliff. So even he didn't suffer him to be burned alive in that. Polarius himself is claimed to have been killed in the Brazen Bull when he was overthrown by Telemachus, the ancestor of Theron. Anyway, a lot of stories. Anyway, that's a good example of verse 16, that they might know that wherewithal a man sinneth, by the same also shall he be punished. And that was a wicked creation, man. That was an evil shit. That was an evil invention, right? And he was punished with that same thing that he came up with. And then verse 17, it says, for the almighty hand that made the world of matter without form wanted not means to send among the multitude of bears or fierce. Okay, and so yeah, 16 is where we can close out with that. So yeah, just verse 16. So yeah, man, a lot of these things come back to bite them in the ass, all right? And I think it's hilarious. Okay, I think it's absolutely hilarious. These individuals come up with all these different evil and wicked things, and then the Lord sends those things right back upon them. So there's a little moral of the story for you, Esau. All right, every time you do one of these things, guess what? The Lord's gonna bring that shit right back upon you. So yeah, man. The other things I didn't end up getting to is there's heat waves, right? There's a lot of heat waves going on. That's another thing. But yeah, man. And there's another thing that's coming back upon them. They're messing with the HAARP device, heating up the world and stuff. A lot of people say global warming. Global warming is a sham. It's bullshit. But they're messing with the. Well, I mean, really, in a way, they are creating it. They're making it real because they keep on messing with the climate, and the Lord has everything in a set way, and they keep on messing with the climate because, of course, it's in the power of their hands currently. The Lord's allowing them to do it. And with that, the Earth is heating up and cooling down, and we'll have a global cooling and a global warming at the same time. It's completely ridiculous. So it just shows you, the extent that these Edomites will go to for control, and it only ends up backfiring on them. So that's where we're gonna close out. Lord, what was edifying. Again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Shalom to your brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing. Shalom.